From our division, to our department, to the greater university, to the individuals in our state who live with psychiatric and developmental disabilities, and those who are homeless will benefit from Mariel's talents long after she has graduated. Mariel is a strong, quiet star who has touched many lives since she joined us at Carolina. So please join me in recognizing Mariel Marshall as she comes to the stage to accept her award and share her remarks.
Hi, good afternoon. Just bear with me. I don't like public speaking. I'd rather do like a step for you guys, but like she said, my name is Mariel Marshall. I'm in the Clinical Rehabilitation and Mental Health Counseling program. And I would just like to thank several individuals for this award, starting with God, of course, and my mom. She's not here today, but she's on FaceTime. And my friends and my family for just always supporting me in all my endeavors. Especially my mom. I freak her out a lot when I go to the grocery store and I see somebody of need. When I get my groceries, I get an extra gallon of water and some cookies, and then I park the car close and walk up to them and give them stuff, and she freaks out all the time, but I'm always safe, it's okay. I would also like to thank the head of my department, Dr. Berger. She's the one who nominated me for this award, and she's also the one who allowed me to package the food and take it to several shelters in Durham and Orange County. I felt very weird about it at first because we had a lot of food left over, and I felt strange giving it to just one shelter, so I would give it to multiple shelters, which was a cool trip and a great experience for me to actually see the counties. I'm from New York, so North Carolina is very new. I would also like to thank Dr. Mitchell, the Associate Chair of the Department of Allied Health Sciences and Student Services, because she was the one who initially invited me to become a part of the Diversity and Inclusion Leadership Team, which I didn't know we had, and I didn't know what we did. But she allowed me to be a part of it and give back and help build the website for diversity and inclusion and give feedback to what students of color are looking for and what students want to be included in. So that was pretty awesome. And she's also kept me well informed since I've been on my practicum and internship. So I've been participating virtually. And I would like to thank Dr. D all the way in the back. She is the Resiliency and Student Support Program Coordinator of the Student Wellness Center. She's also the advisor of the UNC NAACP chapter, so she has provided us with ample opportunities to give back to the community, and I greatly appreciate her mentorship. And lastly, I would like to thank my previous mentor, Dr. Nia, from my undergrad, which is in Ithaca College, when she was the one who said there's a larger community once you get off this mountain. So Ithaca was a shock for me, coming from the city and then going to a mountain on top of a hill, on top of a mountain, and then you might just want to add an extra hill. It's just really up there and very isolated and very cold. And I used to give back to just my college community, and I forgot there was a town once you got off of the hill. And from her statement, I just kept wanting to give back. And so I'd just like to leave you with an African proverb that states, if you think you're too small to make a difference, you haven't spent a night with a mosquito. It makes sense when you think about it. I always thought that I didn't do enough to make a change, but now that I'm here and I'm seeing the recognition, I know that I do enough to make an impact, so I'm going to keep doing that and doing more. So thank you.
I can assure you that no one can one-up the other. They're all amazing. Next, we have our Alumni Award. And that award obviously recognizes an alumnus of the university, and our 2019 awardee is Howard Lee. Howard Nathaniel Lee, born July 28, 1934, grew up on a sharecropper's farm in Lithonia, Georgia. He graduated from Bruce High School in 1953. He attended Fort Valley State College in Georgia, where he received a BA in sociology in 1959. That summer, he was drafted and served 2 years in the United States Army, spending more than a year in Korea. In 1964, he enrolled in the graduate program at the School of Social Work here at UNC Chapel Hill, and he received his master's in 1966. In 1969, he was elected and served 3 terms as mayor of Chapel Hill. In 1976, he was a candidate for lieutenant governor, but lost in a contentious second primary runoff election. From 1977 to 81, he served as the Secretary of the Department of Natural Resources and Community Development, a cabinet-level position in Governor Jim Hunt's administration. Among his many achievements, he initiated a Mountains to the Sea hiking trail, which stretches from the North Carolina mountains to the coast. Lee served as an administrator at Duke University and on faculty at North Carolina Central University, and later was a member of the School of Social Work faculty here at UNC. He has lectured at numerous universities throughout the country, contributed chapters to several books, and has published articles in many professional... Are you getting a little nervous hearing all this about you? Memory lane. Professional, academic, and business publications. He also has released and published several inspirational writings. In 2008, he released his memoir entitled The Courage to Lead, One Man's Journey in Public Service. In 1999, Lee was elected to the North Carolina Senate, where he served for 13 years. In the North Carolina Senate, he built his reputation as a fighter for education reform. He advocated for higher teacher salaries, that's important, increased funding for public and higher education, and raising teacher and student standards. He sponsored or co-sponsored several major pieces of educational legislation, including Smart Start, More at 4, which is a pre-K program, and Excellent School Art Act for school reform and the Safe Schools Act. In 2003, Lee was elected chairman of the North Carolina State Board of Education, and in 2005 was appointed by the governor to the North Carolina Utilities Commission. From March 2019 to September 2011, he served as the first executive director of the North Carolina Education Cabinet, appointed by Governor Bev Perdue. Since 2011, Lee has spent most of his time as president of the Howard and Lee Institute, focusing on the developing initiatives in middle school and high schools to increase the number of disadvantaged students, especially young black males, who are graduating from high school and preparing to succeed in post-secondary education. Howard and his wife Lillian, a retired public school teacher, live in Chapel Hill and have 3 children, 2 granddaughters, of whom they are very proud. His nominator writes, Senator Lee has a long history of advocacy for diversity, equity, and inclusion. He has dedicated his life to inclusion and education and creating opportunities for everyone, but particularly in the minority population. From sit-ins while serving in the military in rural Texas to breaking the color barriers in segregated North Carolina, Mr. Lee has led by example through community service for 50 years. He has broken color lines and He has broken color lines and provided leadership in improving education and opportunity for all North Carolinians, particularly people of color. Please join me in recognizing UNC alumnus Howard Lee.
Well, thank you very much, Chancellor, Vice-Chancellor. I'm honored to be here to receive this award because I think it's such an important topic to focus on, and also because I believe we should commend the university for the progress it has made through the years in creating an environment where diversity and inclusion can be highlighted. I arrived on this campus in 1964, and I think during that time, approximately 18 black students were on the campus. There were 2 of us out of 40 in the School of Social Work. But I learned something very early, that there were individuals on the campus who were always fighting to be inclusive. I remember President Bill Friday, Howard Odom, and I could list a long group of people who were out fighting early on. This university has a reputation of setting standards for how to be inclusive and to how to create diversity. Hasn't always been commended for that. And of course, while I was serving in the North Carolina Senate, I was one of the strong advocates for protecting the right of this university to be a leader in terms of including people. The legislature, on the other hand, has not always been a very good friend. But at the same time, I commend those who have led the university, and especially the current chancellor, for the emphasis that is being put on the inclusive aspects of our university. I spend most of my time in public schools, and the one thing that stands out to me is that we still have an awful lot of work to do in order to create an diversified environment. I walk into a school and I see young people divided into groups. Black students in one area, white students in another area, and Latino students in another area. So most recently I was asked to come speak to a group at Carrboro High School. And one of the things that concerned many of the students there, which was refreshing to me, is that they wanted to know, how do we break down the barrier that we can see developing in our schools? How do we reach across the aisle? And we spent a great deal of time on that. But also, they found they got criticized, at least some of the black students felt they were criticized when they tried to reach across and engage with students of different ethnic groups. We have to find ways to encourage our students and give them the courage of being able to recognize that one person can make a difference. I think this line here, an inclusive blue, begins with you. It begins with each of us. How many of us are willing to engage in a way with people who are different? How many people are turned off because somebody has a different philosophy, or someone has a different skin color, or someone is a member of a different religion, or someone has a different sexual preference? How many of us are willing to find another direction to go instead of moving forward to engage with that individual? My first challenge came when I was mayor of Chapel Hill. My second challenge came when I was a member of the administration at Duke. But my real challenge came when I was secretary of the Department of Natural Resources, when a young person came to me and said that I want to make the transition from being a man to being a woman. And I want to be able to use the women's bathroom. Well, that word got out. And one of the pressures that were put on me was that this person has no right to be in state government and should be relieved of his responsibility. I wouldn't accept that, and of course indicated that we would stand with this person because this was a human being who should be included as part of our workforce. I won that battle. I don't know if I could win it today, but I won that battle at that time. I feel that it is so important for us to continue this journey. I continue to do it, to commit myself to moving in this direction for as long as life lasts, and as long as I'm able to participate, to encourage others to engage in emphasizing inclusiveness, emphasizing diversity. Finally, let me say to all of you here that our goal should be to go out of our way to engage in a way with people who make us most uncomfortable. I think that obviously, if we do that, we can break down barriers. There is one couple that I think should be a great lesson for us. A movie has just been made about the life of C.P. Ellis and Ann Atwater in Durham. Ann Atwater was not my friend early on because she was a black power advocate, and she thought my being elected mayor was a sellout. C.P. Ellis was at Duke University. He was one of the managers that I had to fight with in order to create an inclusive environment. These two people had completely different views, but these two people found a way to come together and develop a level of trust and respect for each other. That's what diversity and inclusiveness should be about. Developing trust, developing respect, and being willing to even make oneself uncomfortable to engage with people who are different. I'm so honored that I've been chosen to receive this award. I shall value it. in the highest way, and thank you so much for considering me.
Phenomenal, right? Our fourth award category this afternoon is intergroup collaboration, which recognizes an effort by units, groups, or programs to bring together multiple perspectives to address a critical issue of equity or diversity in Carolina. Our awardee in this category is Diversity and Success, the Diversity and Student Success Program in the Graduate School. Diversity and Student Success was created to contribute to the success, the retention, and degree completion of diverse students through targeted academic, professional, and personal development programs, as well as community building to create a sense of belonging.